We were talking about gaslighting. Okay, this is gaslighting from an institutional level where they're not
Hmm.
even speaking to the source of this. Okay, so of course these non-biological dads are going to have mental health issues as a result
Hmm.
of being angry or anxious or feeling distrust and feeling like the system has failed them. So this is a way to detract from the responsibility once again of the source of the problem. We all know the source of the problem, and this is sort of that coddling of accountability. And so all of this is pointing to one thing, okay? And to me, it's pointing to, hey, men, work, bust your ass or whatever the case may be,
Hmm.
because we have all these industries for you to pay for. We have child support for you to pay for. If not, we'll punish you through jail or other means.
Really, y'all don't know this, y'all in danger. I'm a threat. I'm a gamble with your life, cause you know that it's a bet. It's a bet. You know I ain't letting up, my foot is on your neck. Take my word for it, it's a promise and a threat. Really, y'all don't know this, y'all in danger. I'm a threat. I'm a gamble with your life, cause you know that it's a bet. It's a bet. You know I ain't letting up, my foot is on your neck. Take my word for it, it's a promise and a threat. I ain't never really wanna flex my gifts, but I think it's my time. Let me check my wrist. You can never dim my shine. I'ma keep on grinding till I reach the top.
I did have this article right here. Let's see. Let's hope it works real fast. Hold on a second. Let me see. Did it go? All right, cool. Yeah, new study shows how DNA tests revealing non-biological fathers can trigger mental health challenges. Now look at how they're posting this, how they're putting this. Like, new study shows how DNA tests by fathers mental health, as if it's the DNA test's fault
touch
that.
this? In the meantime, I'll just go ahead and speak to this until I'll.
Yeah, I can hear
Yeah, go
everyone
ahead,
but
Deacon.
Alvin.
Go ahead, Deacon.
Okay. So,
Go ahead, Saul.
we were talking about gaslighting. Okay. This is gaslighting from an institutional level where they're not
Hmm.
even speaking to the source of this. Okay. So, of course, these non biological dads are going to have mental health issues as a result
Hmm.
of, being angry or anxious or feeling distrust and, feeling like the system has failed them. So, this is a way to, detract from the responsibility once again of the source of the problem. We all know the source of the problem, and this is sort of that coddling of accountability. And so all of this is pointing to one thing, okay? And to me, it's pointing to, hey, men, work, bust your ass or whatever the case may be, because we have all these industries for you to pay for. We have child support for you to pay for. If not, we'll punish you through jail or other means. This stuff has got to stop, okay? And this is blatant propaganda. Just my 2 cents. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
That-
Like,
I
this
mean-
should piss everybody off. Go ahead.
Well, I mean,
Go ahead,
the
Hasan.
thing about it is, when you read the title, can trigger. I mean, you raise your child 10, 15, 18 years, and then later on you found out that girl or boy is not yours. I mean, what other possible conclusion can you arrive at?
Yeah. It's
So,
just
I mean,
the
this is
idea that
insane.
it totally dismisses the fact that why are non-biological fathers being the fathers in the first place?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it totally skipped over that part. This is literally why my channel exists. Because the logical question is, well, why is there so many non-biological fathers?
There's some skepticism I have. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna just be honest with you about the titling of this article. I would be curious to see what is the name of that particular research study, and whether or not it was framed in a way that this article was. And not only that, what is the author of this article look like, and what are their leanings? I always make it my business to look at the biography of the leanings of the person that written the article, and I look at the names of other articles they've done, because these folks are really, really gifted at putting out propaganda. They know that people only look at listen to sound bites and just look at headlines and don't think to go any further to peel back the onion. So, gentlemen, as you all are seeing here with further analysis, this is how you peel back the onion further to know whether or not you're being vulnerable to a sort of influence that's sinister in nature.
Yes, I agree. Laura Stolick is a teacher, children's book author, and a level 3 Reiki master. She has a master's degree in psychology and educational administration. Her work in the classroom includes teaching advanced psychology courses and diversity studies. Interesting. Laura is passionate about helping people and protect their mental health. Business, highly materialistic.
Can we go back a little bit? Sorry. Can we go back a little, because we have to unpack that, right? Because all those words have a meaning, right?
Absolutely.
So when we talk about children's book author, right?
Yep.
And when we talk about master's degree in psychology and education, feminist, right?
Yep.
A level feminist. Her work in the classroom includes teaching advanced psychology courses, drug dealer, because she's pushing Ritalin. Right, so drug dealer. So we got a feminist drug dealer, diversity studies, Klansman, and passionate about helping other people protect their improvement LGBT.
Damn.
And to add on top of that, I saw the sort of getting those kids early, whether there's young black males in classrooms or indoctrinating those kids early. You see how there's some sort of strategic situating oneself.
Yeah.
Right. So this woman is a feminist drug dealer that has interaction with your children, and I'm being serious.
I agree.
Straight liberal, bro.
Allegedly.
Liberal.
I agree. Allegedly. Yes.
No, I mean, because psychologists.
I got you. I got you.
And all that stuff.
I know. I'm just putting allegedly on there just to keep myself out of trouble.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But I agree. Allegedly. And let's see. Hold on.
And you said education administration when you went back up. That means that she drives the curriculum, or at least sits on the board to make recommendations thereof.
Yeah. Okay. I want to see if she cites what
level 3. Pretty much witchcraft.
Does she cite the actual studies?
Yeah, level 3. Allegedly. Yeah, I was reading that. I was reading all that stuff, man. Practice. And the higher
hold on, Cody. Go ahead.
This is like a spiritual, Japanese spiritual healing practice. At the higher levels, they deal a lot with spirits.
That Reiki shit?
Yeah.
Oh, so she's a witch.
That too.
She looks allegedly. Allegedly. She looks like she could be one. Okay, so new study published in Psychiatry Research investigated the consequences of discovering that your biological father was not whom you believed your father through direct-to-consumer DNA kits. The findings suggest that those who discover misattributed paternity are more likely to report more symptoms of anxiety, depression, and panic. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Several factors contributed to the severity of these symptoms, including family reactions, personal reactions, demographics, and whether or not their relationship with their mother declined after the discovery. Why wouldn't it? This research sheds light on the potential consequences of easily accessible DNA testing. Look at that. They're putting the fault on the accessibility of DNA testing instead of the fact that this bitch told this man that and the children that the father is not the real father. Like, ain't this crazy? Isn't this crazy?
You cannot make this shit up.
Let me ask you, if it's okay with you, if you can at least go to the Journal of Psychiatry Research. If you were to click on that, there's a good chance that the abstract will show. And I want to know whether or not the scientists actually say something like that. See, usually there's a sort of political spin on these sorts of things. I can almost guarantee the scientists were just probably just doing their research. That's most of the time. But remember, there's people who've kind of infiltrated academia and they're pushing their own ideology and not really going through the sort of rigor of empirical research, non-biased.
Well, I mean, she's not saying it. And
Hello?
I got a crazy windstorm coming through here. It's like crazy windy, so I think that's why my dad is being choppy. That's on me. Hold on. That's me. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yes.
It's a crazy. I got a crazy windstorm popping through, so I think my internet is like acting up. But so this is the research paper here. Hold on a second. Let me zoom in.
Okay. So they are academics who infiltrated it.
Okay, but here's the thing: the data and how the data is interpreted are two different things, right? I mean, because she didn't say anything that we don't already know. Oh, you're telling me that telling kids that the father that they've been calling father for their entire lives is not their father, and you think that that's going to like strain the relationship between them and their mother? Like, no shit, Sherlock. Like, that's not. Of course, we know what the numbers are going to be. The twist is turning it on to the fact that DNA tests are easily available instead of the fact that bitch be lying is the twist. Abstract. Here it is. Direct to consumer DNA tests provide. Who is here? I'm gonna mute you real quick. I think that's Deacon. No, that's not Deacon. Who is that? Oh yeah, it is. Okay, I got you. Hold on. Just for a second, Deacon. Abstract. Direct to consumer DNA tests provide information on ancestry and family relations. Their increased use in recent years has led to many discover that their presumed father is not their biological father, and non-paternity event. They even call it an NPE, a non-paternity event. Interesting. Wow. We aim to explore and quantify the psychiatric effects of discovering one's father's identity was misattributed. I love how they use misattributed as if it was an accident. We distributed questionnaires in private online communities of individuals who learned that their NPEs questionnaires included clinical scaling, assessing depressive and anxiety and panic.
Can we pause for a second?
Yes,
if we don't mind.
Absolutely.
Okay, so when we look at MPV, because we got to understand something, you got to keep something in mind. Academia dictates policy, right? Political policy and law, right? Whatever academia says will soon turn into law. So right now we have the term paternity fraud. Right now it says MPE. MPE is there to remove paternity fraud from the legal system or the criminal justice system.
That is a very good catch, yes.
Unless it's going to be a man, right? But you got to remember, academia always set public policies and laws. It comes from Harvard law, Princeton, Yale law first, or in Michigan, a lot of times from Michigan first, before it's codified into the law books.
So essentially, this type of study and this type of language is going to be used to combat the paternity fraud cases and paternity fraud arguments that we'll be making most likely when it comes time to pass some laws, is what you're saying.
Right. So basically, when you find out that your son or daughter is not yours and she graduated, this is a non-paternity event that happened to you.
Got you. Instead of paternity fraud, like your mama knew and told a lie.
So you can no longer press criminal charges.
And the piggyback off of what he just said. Remember, we were just kind of talking about this a little earlier, Alvin.
Yeah, 100%.
Remember when I was talking about using journal articles or whatnot, because these people are considered expert witnesses. Okay, because one could go to this journal article and it's published, and a court can subpoena them and deem them as an expert, and they're already creating a framework so that so basically these scientists are obviously they've infiltrated the academy, so they could do that. So one or two things with this you could do. Okay, usually there's some sort of publishing they do at conferences. You could do some sort of open and public challenge to the conference. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, at the conference.
Yeah.
And you can kind of question the methodology and kind of embarrass the scientists in a very empirical, debative sort of form. Mm-hmm. Or you can contact, some of our heavyweights like, Tommy J. Curry, Dr. T. Hassan Johnson, and Dr. Ron O'Neill and people like that as a counter. Okay, why do you think I'm doing what I'm doing to, continue on so that I can go on ahead and get a PhD? There's a reason for that.
I believe this is, I think we have put a point on something that is absolutely positively the beginning of a counter argument to paternity fraud. I 110% agree. You're 100% correct, bro. And I think we should probably aggressively get on this thing, because this is a trip, bro. Questionnaires included clinical scales assessing depressive, anxiety, and panic symptomology, as well as background and personal details regarding participants' NPE discovery and demography. A total of 731 people participated. Results demonstrated increased levels of depression, anxiety, panic symptoms relative to controls. Multiple factors influenced such effects, including demographics, background information, family members' reactions, and personal reactions. We identified a worsening relationship or attitude towards the mother as a risk factor for worse mental health.
I would like to know. I'm going to analyze the argument, because you would have to have some sort of linear regression model to, for the most part, prove that. So, I mean, there could be a question of methodology there.
Absolutely.
Okay? Now, if hold on.
I'm just going to pamper through this. I'll come right back to you. Okay. We identified a worsening relationship or attitude towards the mother as a risk factor for worse mental health. The ability to openly discuss the discovery and acceptance of it were identified as protective factors. This is the first paper to explore the psychiatric soliloquy of discovering misattributed paternity in a large cohort. This unique physiological stressor is likely to become more common as direct-to-consumer DNA tests gain popularity, requiring the attention of mental health professionals. Whoa. Look at this keyword: misattributed paternity, NPE, non-paternity event, not paternity expected, direct-to-consumer DNA test.
Wow.
Go ahead, Deacon.
To be honest with you, they probably use what we call the GAD scale, PHQ-9, which are quite honestly 10 to 12 question batteries to assess anxiety and depression and things like that. I don't know how they could directly attribute the anxiety or depression that somebody may have already had due to these, unless they've done some sort of pre-test, to see how people's sort of symptomology was prior to seeing the DNA test and after. Okay, so it will really be a question of methodology here. There's something fishy. Okay, I smell a fish. Don't you smell a fish, hot sauce?
I smell it.
I mean, all this is doing is just advocating getting rid of the
DNA test,
consumer DNA testing.
Yes,
and also to get rid of to get rid of criminal pursuit of paternity fraud. Because look, I mean, there's over 50 million, $500 million made yearly in California alone, just on child support.
Thank you. Hey, Gerald, can I get a coochie stink sometimes? If you got that handy.
Coochie gonna stink sometimes. It is what it is.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
I got you.
Oh man, I need that so bad. I think you're 100% correct, Hot Sauce. And what we're dealing with is, again, they're taking the responsibility off of. It's like the logical question is, wait, why are you got so many people with misattributed parent fathers? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we? You know what I mean? Like, it's so interesting that they really are skipping that part. And it's like, because it's obvious, like, you're going to have anxiety if you find out the person that you thought was your father is not your father. Like, there's nothing, like, that's an obvious, like, I don't have to be a fucking doctor to know that that's what's going to happen. Go ahead, Cody.
Yeah, that I don't know why they want to, throw all that away, because I said, like, for instance, like, what if that child has leukemia and you have to donate your marrow, your bone marrow? Come to find out she's not a match, or he's not a match. And come to find out you doing the DNA test, that baby's not yours.
Man, check this out. That's crazy. Listen to this. Past 3 decades, I'm sorry, I hammered through this. Past 3 decades have seen a rise of popularity of commercial direct-to-consumer DNA testing kits. Ancestry, 23andMe, MyHeritage, an estimated 30 million people worldwide have taken such tests in a recreational setting as of 2020. DNA test kits offer consumers information relating to their health and ancestry. Furthermore, these tests provide an option to find relatives by genetic markers from a pool of other consumers who tested their DNA. This is the part I wanted to get to. In recent years, many stories have emerged in popular media about customers who learned that the man they presumed to be their fathers was not, in fact, their biological parent as a result of DNA analysis. Recently, research has begun to emerge regarding these consumers and their subsequent experiences. The uncovering of misattributed paternity, also NPE, in genealogy, non-paternity events, or non-parent expected, can occur in a multitude of ways, such by identifying previously unknown first-degree relatives, learning that siblings are genetically half-siblings, discovering an unexpected ethnicity, or more. Interesting. Many studies have attempted to determine the prevalence of NPEs in present-day populations. Throughout history, estimates range from less than 1% to over 10%. We all know that's a lie. International Society of Genetic Genealogy recently, I don't know what that is. Recently, Gary Al... I'm not sure what that's short for, surveyed 23,169 people who used the TDC service Family Tree DNA, found that 5% of participants discovered an unexpected biological parent of any gender. Unexpected biological parent. Which parent do you think they're speaking of? While this number represents misattributed paternity of both mothers and fathers, okay, it suggests 5 paternal NPTs among DTC DNA test users. This number, hold on a second. This number may also represent upper limit in the general population, as to those suspicious about their paternity may be more inclined to use the test. Go ahead.
This does not include during those times like the 40s, from the earlier centuries all the way through the 70s and 80s. There was a lot of kidnappings going on with children. Come to find out, those people who were missing and those who were looking for that kid for 50 years later come to find out that's their child, especially with the DNA test, or it doesn't match, come to find out that that child's been kidnapped. That can be that too. A lot of kids been kidnapped over time too as well. Just remember that.
That's so crazy. I'm like, how do you just pop up one day with somebody else's child? That just blows my mind that people get that shit off. Yeah. It's just so crazy. It's like, how do you like do it a bit? Like nobody asks like where'd that child come from? Nobody, like people just be having.
But everybody asks, why is Grandpa so upset?
Facts. Yeah. Anecdotal tales of NPEs have circulated throughout history, yet it has never been so easy for a person to discover a misattributed a paternity or establish it with such certainty. So this is just the I'm gonna go over this. This is just the introduction. Go ahead.
Can I point you down to the methods?
Yeah, let's go down to that. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. The study was approved by the Institutional Review Boards and was conducted in accordance with the International Conference on Harmonization Guidelines, and ethical principles
of the Declaration of Helsinki.
We gotta look that over.
Yeah, I think it's just a bunch of I think it's a bunch of words that makes it sound like they did it the right way when they maybe didn't. Participants recruited.
Can I point to you where I have problems?
Go for it.
Okay, if you were to go further down. Okay,
here we go, right here.
Up a little bit. Wait a minute. Did they say some space? Okay, so you see where it says Facebook group? Okay, so it's not an entire random sample of the population. It's a population of people who would most likely use Facebook. So there's a bias already there. Okay, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
and not only that, but it's look at how the Facebook group is titled DNA NPE Friends.
Okay, so there's already that, right? So there could be a question of exposing them a little bit more instead of some sort of objective, research. Here's another thing I wanted to show you. Did you notice what I said before? PHQ-9 and GAD-7. We go down.
Further down.
Do you remember how I was telling you how those things measure anxiety and depression? These are things I use on a daily basis. Okay?
Yeah.
Those are quite limiting, okay? As far as, really establishing fully a diagnosis for depression and anxiety, okay? There's other factors that you would take into play, because the way that those are structured are, kind of on a what they call a Likert scale. Oh, from 1 to 10, how do you feel about this? From 1 to 10, how do you feel about that? Okay, and that's subjective. That's subjective. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you were to go all the way like slightly down, and it says something like data collection was conducted between November 19 and February 2020. Let's stop there. And was terminated prematurely due to the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic. Really, really, really interesting time, because guess what was heightened during
anxiety.
That time? Anxiety and depression. So how could we truly attribute the sort of factors of depression and anxiety to this particular study when hell broke loose in the world? Are you following me here?
100.
Okay. All right. When you go down to results, okay, it said the sample consisted of 731. Okay, that's a decent amount of statistical power. If you were to go, let me see here. Majority. Okay, so the mean age was 51. A majority of participants were women in a relationship. So for whatever reason, due to their selection, it's not a sort of random sample of the population where, will be generally men and women.
50, exactly, 50-50 or 52-48.
Exactly. There's, for whatever reason, their sort of selection process, there's a lot of women.
90%.
Exactly. Which could further bias the way that they answer, as far as how they feel about their mom. Maybe giving her a little bit of a break. But if you were to go down here, I'll show you what's the most important piece here. If you were to go all the way down to where it says, keep going down. Because there was something that stuck out to me, and I'll tell you what stuck out to me. It says something about them having previous mental health diagnosis. Oh, here it is. Okay, so if you were to go down to where the paragraph starts and says, of the demographic variables.
Further down?
Under 3.3.
Okay, hold on. Okay. Okay, here we go.
Okay. Go further down. It's further down slightly. It'll say of. If you further right there.
I got it right there.
Okay. It says this. Here's something that was key that they slipped in. Previous mental health. The
previous mental illness
was a significant predictor of worse outcomes. So this is really key here. Do we really attribute this to the situation at hand, or this person already had some level of anxiety or depression, and as somebody in sort of a normal human experience would have, if they hear bad news, of course they're going to feel a little worse about it.
Of course. Interesting. Bro, this is crazy. Because this is how it starts, guys. Real talk. Like, this is how it starts. Like, this is how our, policies get set. This is how, we end up getting screwed at the end of the day. And I'm glad Uncle D, I'm glad we caught this. I'm glad we had an opportunity to break this down a little bit. Deacon, did you get it? Did you download this? Are you following along at home on this? Do you already have this link?
Oh, I got it up right here, right now, right in my face.
All right,
further analysis.
Yeah, we should revisit this, and we should really highlight. Let's do another broadcast specifically on this, and maybe whatever extra tools we need. Let's do something specific to this particular thing, because I think this kind of shit is dangerous, to be honest with you, and I don't think people really understand how dangerous it really is. And I mean, this is arguably one of the biggest, again, as far as gaslighting is concerned, or propaganda, this is hardcore, bro. Like, your real talk, like how they question everything, how they're putting, and again, people see statistics, they see the numbers, they're like, oh, we use this method and that method, and they see a bunch of numbers and pluses and minuses, and they think that, okay, everything is on the up and up, when it's clearly, it isn't. And the fact that obviously you're a clinician, but we're, the rest of us are, laymen's, we're regular guys, and we're sitting here piece by piece picking this thing apart, and it's bullshit. And I'm realizing more and more that, like, we need to be on top of this stuff. Go ahead, Cody, and then we're gonna get up out of here.
And I'm like close to Deacon a little bit, because I'm a medical assistant, so I have to pretty much advise people sometimes to go to a clinician.
Mm-hmm.
See certain subjective or objective things in that patient, because I'm the one that have to take your vitals and stuff like that, and especially when it comes to certain like psychosis that I see in you that I have to diagnose, and then write it to to that provider or before that physician comes in. So just letting you know that.
No, of course, man, and I appreciate that. It's good to have you guys and just have an educated voice, people that know exactly what they're looking at and can point us in the right direction. And I think more folks need to take, the time and take the steps. Right? What did we just do? Right? We took an article that seemed a little suspect. We took a look at the author of the article. We looked at the research. We found the paper that she's quoting, and then we start picking it apart. Right? We took 30 minutes, 45 minutes, maybe an hour, and we started drilling down on some stuff. But we need to make this type of thing more common. This is an exercise that we all need to do collectively for everything. Right? It's like we hear what you're saying, but we need to see what you're really saying. Right. And I think that this is a practice that I want. This is literally why I started this channel, doing stuff like this. What are we missing? What's the obvious question? Why aren't you asking the obvious question? They completely avoided the fact that mama lied the whole time.
Yes, she did.
That's crazy, bro.
Crazy.
Unbelievable. And blaming it on the fact that DNA tests are easily available. Unbelievable. That is the craziest gaslighting I've ever. And a Facebook group that's 90% women. That's how you're gonna, and then you're gonna quote that, and you're gonna use that data and quote it as if it's bro, nah.
So
man.
Then there's a question of recruitment and selection.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And so there's supposed to be a whole bunch of institutional controls at play to kind of counter those things. As you see, the IRB, which is an institutional review board, which is supposed to ask these sorts of questions like, hey, there's a very, very, very high representation of women. Hey, what sort of incentives are, information that you provided the participants in regards to participating with this research project or whatnot. And I'm wondering whether or not usually scientists is customary for you to be able to ask them for raw data for further analysis. Am I making any sense? So if 100%. As a scientist, I should be able to contact these people and ask them for the data files and actually, actually be able to, do further analysis based on these sort of the raw data that they have. Am I making sense? Because that's a way you can kind of question their methodology,
Really, y'all don't know this